He was a banker turned luxury property developer. I speak exclusively to Simon Cheong, Chairman and CEO of SC Global. The Mark on Patterson Hill, Sculptura Ardmore, and the Seven Palms in Sentosa are just a few of the luxury residential condo developments that SC Global has built in prime areas in Singapore. The company was founded in 1996 by Simon Cheong, a former real estate investment banker who was looking to strike out on his own. He first conceived SC Global as a boutique investment firm before transforming it into one of the country's leading luxury property developers. Today, the group has an expansive property portfolio, which includes locations in China, Japan, Australia, and Indonesia. Simon, thank you so much for talking to me. When you started in 1996, you started off by doing these big property deals with consortiums. You were dubbed the super deal maker at that time by the local press. At what point did you decide to get into the actual property development business itself? And what made you zoom in on the high-end residential market?
Precisely, when I came out from banking, we had no capital. All we had was our integrity, our reputation. So I had to build capital. In those days, frankly, the PE funds didn't really exist, so we really have to precisely trade deals, do deals, and build up our capital. And I have to say I'm quite proud because of my credit background and my banking background, I was able to build up a lot of credit skills, how to structure deals. I did a lot of these mega deals. A lot of people couldn't figure out. They call me a deal maker, a broker, and a financier, everything. But somehow the market couldn't figure out who am I, what am I doing. It's like this phantom just show up. Actually, the reality is we took risk. We underwrote deals that we couldn't afford actually at that time. But as it turned out, because we took all the skills to bear and we structured very well, I've always told people, in fact, actually, who is still my friend today, he's still around, I asked this broker, asked him, look, get me the biggest deal in town. Get me the biggest deal in town. He was looking at me, he's like, oh, are you serious? Yeah, get me the biggest deal. Why the biggest deal? Because that's the most difficult deal and the least competition. So
it's also the most lucrative.
The most lucrative. So risk reward, that's how it worked out. And it worked out. And I would say we built out our first pot of gold. The Chinese call it 地桶金. And from there we started to roll.
Your first maiden project, the Lady Hill, was launched in 2000, just after the Asian financial crisis, at the time when the local real estate market was slowing and prices were falling. Did you have any reservations pulling out such a high-end project during that time?
Oh, absolutely. I had sleepless night and thinking of how do you buy this. I recall the land was approximately $60 million. That's a lot of money for somebody who has no money to do it. But anyway, so I was able to convince the vendor to sell me the land, and then I structured it properly. Christine, I can tell you there's no successful man in the world that actually doesn't do his homework. Luck can only get away with so much, but really a lot of hard work, a lot of due diligence, a lot of research done. Yeah.
So how much of what you did was really gut and feel?
A lot. I would have to say 40%. Gut and feel. If you don't have the gut and feel, you must want to do it. So I do it really because out of passion, And then I felt that because in my investment banking time with First Boston and my Citibank, I travel a lot, and I see actually how come all these luxurious hotels that I stay in, many attributes and many of the plannings in the hotels you don't see in the resi area, particularly in Singapore. So we put all this together, and then my wife had a lot to do with it because she's got a very good eye for design. She was design trained. Of course, I'm a farmer compared to her, but I'm the guy that actually tilled the soil, and then she'll tell me what to plant. Yeah.
The property market is highly cyclical. How do you navigate through the ups and downs of the property market? Is it all about timing your projects?
If anyone tells me that you can actually time a project, then I say, wow, you must be really great to be able to time project. I think the important part is that we know whether we can afford it, what is our bottom line, and then we just go for it.
What are your margins typically like, can I ask?
For Singapore real estate, I'm not shy to tell you, it's almost, to win the site, very competitive. Don't forget, Christine, we are a small player in the land of the giants. Sometimes we have to have zero margin to get in there, zero margin. So we ride the property market. So oftentimes, even up to today,
that's a lot of risk you're taking.
A lot of risk, yeah. But you must want to do it, and you can afford it. That's the most important.
That would explain the sleepless nights.
Precisely.
In 2013, you made headlines when you decided to take the company private in a $745 million deal. You were not the only developer to delist to avoid paying hefty extension charges on unsold units. Do you think SC Global is now better off as a private company?
Christine, we did not delist simply because of the property measures. It was a bonus. We delisted because it was very undervalued. The market was not giving us and the minority shareholders the fair value. That's why we delisted it. But it's not only us, Christine. The whole market, all the real estate companies are trading 30 to 50% below their NTA. And plus, not to mention, particularly in my area of business, a niche player, a high-end developer, we take a lot more time to plan our projects.
On hindsight, do you think it was a mistake to go public in the first place?
No, it wasn't a mistake. When we went public, we also made a lot of money because it was the flavor of that time, But you never know. Market change, mindset change. Particularly now, everybody's talking about inflation. Property prices may rise again, and the equity market may say, you know what? Maybe we should go list all these property companies. It will come back. It will come back.
Are you considering relisting the company?
If the circumstances is correct, and when property prices get too expensive on a unit per unit basis, right, physical unit, and the market wants to have a piece of the action, so there's only one way, two ways: go to buy REITs, which is the commercial side. There's no residential REIT, so you want to go to the residential market. The other way is to go and list the company and they participate in it.
Could it happen in the next few years for you?
I don't know, but we are ready.
To?
The problem now is the market doesn't value real estate company as a business. They value it just hard assets. They will pay PE of the famous company like Tesla and a lot of the service company. They multiply by PE. They have no asset, they give you a lot of values to it. So one day, somewhere, it will be somewhere in between.
The bulk of your property developments are based here in Singapore. When you look at the latest slew of government measures to cool the market, higher taxes on second property purchases, restricted limits on loans, has it impacted demand for your high-end properties?
Yes, we are not alone. We cannot be completely isolated from the impact of the sentiment. First of all, property market is the sentiment. When the sentiment is bad, we all have our fair share. It's how much. I think the high-end resi market is a little bit more sheltered because a lot of the high-end buyers actually don't gear up that much. So it is a lifestyle. They are buying a lifestyle. So that's where the luxury is. They like it, they buy it.
Don't go anywhere. More with the Chairman and CEO of SC Global, Simon Cheong.
The short term, we are businessmen. We hate it, But long-term game is tremendous.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to Managing Asia with Simon Cheong, Chairman and CEO of SC Global. So Simon, it was reported that one of your penthouses in Ardmore Park was bought by Facebook co-founder Eduardo Severin for more than 60 million Singapore dollars. Do you know him personally? Did you have a hand in closing the deal?
Well, I know Eduardo through mutual friends. I attended his wedding. I cannot comment on the prices, but it is, if it is what is reported, is what is reported,
Has the pandemic changed the profile of the high-end condominium buyer?
Yes, I think the high-end condominium buyers now has come from more international or more internationally than previously. You know, they come from more for all corners of the world. It used to be more particularly from the Indonesia and all that, but now it's a lot more diverse, which is very healthy for the Singapore property market. It's no longer a playground for a certain group of a certain market.
The government has recently raised stamp duty for foreign buyers from 20% to 30%. Has it dented, has it affected in any way foreign buying interests?
Oh yes, it has. I think what it has done, it has dented the opportunistic buyers, but for those people that really want a home here, they need to buy, they buy. But the buying quality is higher. What do I mean by that? Buying quality is people are really, when they decide to buy, they are here, they are staying here for the long term. When you were mentioning about all the cooling measures and all that, many people forget, actually we are a country. A country, we talk about long terms. You know, the way our government have program things, it's not a flash in the pan, and they don't want to have this spike. It's not healthy, you know, Christine, overall. So what people don't realize...
So you welcome these cooling measures?
Yes, I welcome long term. Long term. In the short term, we are businessmen. We hate it, you know. But long-term game is tremendous because there's a lot of equity in our property market. What you don't want is a property market that's a lot of debt, and we don't want the froth to be forming in the property market.
There are also lots of concerns about inflation these days. What does it mean for a high-end developer like you, and how does all this weigh on the local property market here in Singapore?
I can tell you as a businessman, one ingredient of a property market that will underpin the values of properties is actually inflation. Actually, inflation is good for assets, you know. So that's for gold, for property, real estate, etc., etc. So that's one side. Of course, there's the other side is the interest rates, right? But if you look at high end, many of them don't gear, they don't borrow. So interest rate is not an issue, right? So what does it mean? So actually, inflation is a hedge against, you know, declining values of the currencies. So
you're not worried?
I'm worried on many things. I'm worried on the macro. You know, I cannot say I'm not worried because always there's a risk return. I always remember when every time you make some money, you took some risk. You know, crypto is not easy currency, easy investment to make. A lot of people, if you look back, you know, within days they can make a lose, but of course they make a lot, but also there's a lot of risk, so they also lose sleep over it.
What's the outlook for the high-end property market here then?
I think it's firm, the high-end property market. We have a phenomenon here called en bloc, which is very unique to Singapore. The en bloc market basically has a self-check on the land supply. If the property prices don't get high enough, the en bloc won't happen. And the en bloc don't happen, the property prices will go up, you know, because there's no supply. It's a chicken and egg. Yeah. So it's extremely interesting, and I thought it's so clever. This move is so clever.
It sounds like you're thinking about getting into the en bloc business yourself.
A little bit. That's why we are keeping some of our properties long term, because it may become an en bloc eventually.
As part of SC Global's long-term strategy, the company has expanded beyond property development with Setsu Niseko, its first luxury resort. The company says the condo hotel residence in Japan's famed skiing area will be the largest full-service hotel in the region. This resort concept that you're developing at Setsu Niseko, is this something you could replicate in some of the other markets? Is that what you're thinking, long-term?
Yes, it's a very interesting business model that we got in Niseko. If you buy a resort apartment there or studio, you use maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks a year, and the rest of the time you can put it back into the pool and they will rent it out for you like a hotel room. You know? So I thought that's a model which you can actually de-risk immediately. Yeah. And then secondly, you can actually keep part of the project or hotel for your own long-term investment. You know, so it's a very unique situation. Yes, answer your question, yes, we are thinking of replicating it elsewhere.
So you're working on your next resort?
The next one we are working on is Bali. We have a beautiful site in Tanah Lot, Bali. It's literally on the cliff. It's 25 hectares. And we are at the moment planning it and embarking on it. It is challenging times too, but I think when the project is complete in 2 years' time, the timing will be about right.
Apart from Japan and Bali, you've also built a residential development in China, offices in Tokyo. Is the next phase of growth for the company all about growing your land bank outside of Singapore?
Yes, we must know where our limitation, our skill sets is. At the moment, we went to China. We tried in Shenyang, China, 10 years ago. We wish we were in Shanghai because it has gone up multiples, but Shenyang didn't really gone up that much. But it was part of the learning process. Now, one interesting thing, I like to go into a project on our own, and then we just learn it on our own. We don't have local partners, put it that way. So in China, it was an expensive lesson because the regulations and all that is not so clear. Then what is more interesting is in Australia. Now, Australia is a real business. Australia, we have A.V. Jennings. This year is our 90th anniversary. It's a 90-year-old company. We bought MPH as a bookstore company. Actually, the crown jewel was A.V. Jennings. We sold off all the bookstores and then we kept A.V. Jennings.
So China doesn't look to be steering away from its zero COVID policy. Does that mean you're thinking twice about investing further into the mainland?
Mainland China, with our limited capacity, we probably will not be a top on our list at the moment, but we are opportunistic. I have a lot of contacts and friends there. I said to them, if you think you have a site, say for example Shanghai, and there's a component you want to do high-end, which we are known for, I'll be happy to collaborate. With you just to do a high-end portion. I'm not going to be involved with this massive hotel or office buildings.
There's a lot of talk about real estate in the metaverse. Are you looking to buy real estate in the metaverse as well?
We did explore a lot about metaverse, about tokenizing our real estate, and so on and so forth. Yes, we thought a lot of this, but I think end of the day, Christine, we are private. So we do not need to really venture out so much to this area. Let other people do it first. And if it works, we will just follow the trend.
Coming up.
Yeah, look for problems. Because frankly, when you look for problems, there are less problems.
More with Simon Cheong, Chairman and CEO of SC Global, after the break. Welcome back to Managing Asia with Simon Cheong, Chairman and CEO of SC Global. Simon, is it true that you personally get involved in almost every single aspect and detail of your projects and developments?
Yes, that's absolutely true. That's why we don't build so many projects, because I've only got so many hours a day.
And you continue to maintain the developments even after you sold off the units.
Yes.
Why is that important to you?
That's the key. I owe it to my customers, who many of them have become my friends, and they bought it because of SC Global, and I think I owe them that to at least maintain it as far as I can. Because of course there are situations when we completely sold out, then for different reasons, we were not able to carry on because they decided to move on to other management. Other than that, we try to maintain a certain block of apartments in every development to maintain the value of the development.
Your journey into the property business began more than 20 years ago. When you look at the projects you've taken on, the developments that you've sold, have all of them been successful?
I have to say we are quite lucky. In our context, yes, successful. But in many other people's eyes, it's not successful because we take a long time. Right? That was one of the fundamental reasons why we took our company private, because it takes much longer to come up with a luxury product. But however, good thing about real estate is that it doesn't rot. It doesn't. As long as you maintain it well, you upkeep it well. It actually will survive the test of time.
Any mistakes made? Any big lessons learned?
A lot of mistakes learned. For example, some of my friends in the more active developers think I'm a dreamer. I take too long. Mistakes are relative.
Are you a dreamer?
I have to dream, otherwise I won't have the passion. I won't be creating things like this. We all must dream, but don't turn it into a nightmare. Dream is good. When we have no dream, we have no hope of the future really is quite dry.
You're a banker turned property developer. You've been ranked one of the richest here in Singapore. How would you describe yourself as a businessman?
I think important to me is you can open the door every morning and walk out and go to work, and people greet you. That's more important to me. To me, wealth has many factors. Health is wealth. Reputation is wealth. It's not about how many zeros you have in the bank account. So I think I like to really see the company going forward to have left behind something that is of high quality.
What drives you? What inspires you? What gets you excited every day?
To do the next thing, I used to tell myself this. Okay, what is the problem today? Give me 10 problems. I want, because
you look for problems.
Yeah, look for problems because frankly, when you look for problems, there are less problems. It's the reality. Yeah. Don't wake up every day and think that it's going to be bliss. It never happens. Something's going to happen. You spill your coffee or whatever. Yeah.
What are you like as the boss?
Me, a busybody.
How so?
One of my habits, I like to go to the back of the house. I always think the back of the house reflects, the front of the house, because what you see sometime in front is all nice, right? But when you go to the back, then you realize, because the attitude is very important, the sense of value, the staffing, whether you care, the sense of taking ownership. One of the things I always think that you have very good colleagues if they all were to take ownership. If everyone treat their office, the company car, the laptop, whatever belongs to the company as their own, actually, frankly, Christine, you have very little to worry about.
Would you say you're demanding? Do you ever take no for an answer?
I'm demanding, short fuse, but I hope that all my colleagues know me long enough to know there's nothing personal. It's just that, I always tell them, look, learn, and hopefully, I hope that when you all move on to other companies, the SC Global card, that you used to hold will open doors for you. And I think, I would have succeeded in building a company.
And finally, you founded SC Global more than 20 years ago. What is your vision for the real estate company 25 years from now?
My vision for the real estate company 25 years from now today is not really size. I would like to have an optimum size, and where everybody very comfortable, happy working in it. That's a comfortable size. I think what I like to see 25 years from today, that SC Global, the brand name, is known not only for real estate, it's a highly credible company. And with that branding and with that reputation, actually, I can see 25 years from today, we may not be only in real estate. It can be many other businesses.
Like what?
For example, in the hotel business, right? Probably also in the office business, right? We can also in the cruise business, for example. But if it's SC Global Cruise, for example, these guys, they don't cut corners, and they will deliver.
Your father was a small property developer. You're in the property business now. Is there a second generation that you're grooming to hand over the reins eventually?
I've led my life really not planning too much, because it just will fall into place. One thing I know, put all your energy in doing what you are doing and do it well. Things will fall into place. And that goes with succession planning too. I've got 2 wonderful girls and a boy and a loving wife, and it's not the succession planning unless something happened to me. But I've seen many families when the patriarch passed on and they say, okay, here, take over the baton, and the company goes down because they have no passion for it. So that's why when you say whether we'll be listed again, who knows? When the listing, maybe we pass on to professionals to run it eventually.
Simon, thank you so much for talking to me.
Thank you, Christine. It's a pleasure.
And it was Simon Cheong, Chairman and CEO of SC Global. Hope you've enjoyed the program. Until next time, I'm Christine Tan. Thanks for watching.